All right. So at this time, we're going to have our keynote speaker. Yep, it's a handkerchief in my back. I didn't realize that. We're going to have our keynote speaker at this time, who is also a product of Jackson, Mississippi. He went to Power APAC as a youngster. That's where I went. Anybody else went to Power APAC? Yeah. Y'all remember that? Right up the street from Merle? Merle grads? Any Merle grads? Yeah, just, okay. 3. You went to Merle, Derek? See, I knew it. We produce some excellence. No shade to Lanier and Callaway, but I'm just saying. All right. Let me stop. 833 is up. Yeah, let me stop. Okay, so I'm going to share his entire bio with you because it is not anything on here that is not important that you don't need to know. Derek Blanks is a talent unlike others who shares his craft, respected media brands like CoverGirl, Nike, Essence, Pepsi, Calvin Klein, and Sony Music Entertainment, just to name a few. They frequently seek him out for iconic campaigns and cover shoots, and at the same time, celebrities request him exclusively for personal portrait sessions, including the alter ego as made popular by Bravo's The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Though his client roster boasts some of the biggest names on the planet, including Oscar award-winning actress Monique, Viola Davis, Jennifer Hudson, Olympians Gabby Douglas and Carmelita Jeter, Nicki Minaj, Meg Thee Stallion, Regina Hall, Wendy Williams, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, Janelle Monáe, Missy Elliott, and Nick Cannon. Derek's artistry is willingly available for anyone who desires to stand in front of his lens. As a consummate visual artist, photographer, creative director, filmmaker, and television personality with appearances on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Don't Be Tardy for the Wedding, The Insider, My Fair Wedding, and more, Derek is the definition of a true Renaissance man, a title sincerely earned as one of the hardest working, studied, and disciplined photographers in the country. He was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. His talents were undeniable even at a young age, prompting his parents to enroll him in APAC, an academic and performing arts complex designed to nurture his budding artistic skills. Blank successfully graduated magna cum laude from the Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore, Maryland, receiving a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Illustration. In 2013, he received the Alumni Award from the Board of Trustees for outstanding achievements and contributions to the arts. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but when each shot is intended to be perfect, a perfect pairing of your image and the undeniable vision of a photographer like Derek Blanks' works so engaging can truly render you speechless. Everybody, let's give a warm welcome and applause. Come on, let's start clapping right now for our keynote speaker, the Derek Blanks.
Derek Blanks is a talent unlike any other. Respected media brands like CoverGirl, Essence, BET, and Sony Music Entertainment frequently seek him for iconic campaigns and cover shoots, while celebrities request him exclusively for personal branding and creative direction projects, including the alter ego concept Derek created in 2009 that still prevails in viral moments today, often imitated but never duplicated. His client roster boasts some of the biggest names on the planet, including Megan Thee Stallion, Regina Hall, Missy Elliott, Brandy, Janelle Monáe, Shaka Khan, Taraji P. Henson, Sierra, Viola Davis, Tracy Ellis Ross, Jennifer Hudson, Cuba Gooding Jr., Gabby Douglas, Carmelita Jeter, Nicki Minaj, Wendy Williams, Steve Harvey, Kelly Rowland, and so many more. As a consummate visual artist, photographer, commercial, film and music video director, and television personality with appearances on shows like The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Don't Be Tardy for the Wedding, The Insider, My Fair Wedding with David Tutera, and more, Derek Blanks is the definition of a true Renaissance man. Content King is the title sincerely earned as one of the hardest working, studied, and disciplined photographers and filmmakers in America. Born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, Blanks' talents were undeniable even at a young age. Blanks is an award-winning talent with a foundation as an outstanding graduate and magna cum laude from the Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore, Maryland, receiving a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Illustration. In 2013, Blanks deservingly received an Alumni Award from the Board of Trustees for outstanding achievements and contributions to the arts and culture, and is adorned with a series of other prestigious awards and counting. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but when each shot is the perfect pairing of your image and the undeniable vision of a creative like Derek Blanks, they often render you speechless.
Good evening, good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? Can you hear me clearly? First, I just want to thank God for being here tonight and for this cause. I think it's amazing, and I think it's important that we have organizations like this that really help, people and entrepreneurs get to where they need to be. I'm not a public speaker at all. And, looking back at my accolades and where I've come from, it's happened relatively quickly because I've always done what I love to do. And that's really what I suggest for everybody here tonight in all your different fields and arenas that you're going through, is to just be focused, to be intentional, and don't let anyone stop you from your passion. Being from Mississippi, a lot of times we get negative press about being from here. Oh, you're from Mississippi, they think we're backwoods, or they think it's country, and most people haven't ever been here. But I never looked at Mississippi like that. I looked at this as a home for nourishment, growth, my family, and it's instilled. I've always thought prideful and very highly of Mississippi because it's instilled great values in me, and it's taught me to stay focused and just keep getting to where I want to be in life. My family's here, the Hill family over there, and family is very important. I didn't even know they were going to be here tonight. Currently, my mom is going through dementia, and my uncle came, and my aunt came a couple of weeks ago. And, the support of them and the support of family is extremely important. I wouldn't be where I am now without my mom and my dad. And my mom's been my number one fan, and she would be right here if she could be. And I could clearly say, without a doubt, that I wouldn't be the man I am today without her. Yes, it's my Uncle Austin. That's who they say I look like, so you guys be the judge of that. But my parents have instilled in me. I remember going to school here in Jackson, right around the corner of APAC, and I was so excited about being in an art school. And third grade, I've always known what I wanted to do in life. I have a twin brother and an older brother. And they were like this, and I was like that. And I recall my cousin, Yvette, we were close. My cousin, Yolanda, who's outside with her business right now, the bartending business, we were like this. We all lived in the same neighborhood. So I remember riding my bike down to her end of the neighborhood and visiting her. And my cousin Yvette would be like, Derek, why aren't you playing with them? I don't recall this, but she would tell anybody, anytime, that my reply would be, I'm gonna make a lot of money one day, I'm not messing up my hands. So I've always had that drive, and I've always been passionate about creating and being an artist. And that's the one thing you have to do to get to the level of your success. I'm nowhere near where I would like to be or where I plan to be. I plan to be bigger and better every season. But the one thing that's true is that I've never listened to what people thought, and I've stayed true to what my goal was. Being an entrepreneur is extremely important for me, even to this day. A lot of people see successful and famous people, and they don't see the years of work they put into it. They don't see how many rejections, letters they get. All they see is the success. And I realized that looking back in life, when I've had obstacles, that I just wasn't ready at the time. And it didn't mean that I wasn't good enough. It just meant that I wasn't ready at the time. It took me years to finally realize that it just wasn't my time. And that's one important thing that I think you all should know, that there will be rejection in your life. There will be financial struggles that you can't give up. You know, even to this day, being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, you just have to take one day at a time. You have to learn from your mistakes. Most people don't. Why make the same mistake again and expect results? I said this the other day. When we go through trials and tribulations, the first thing we think of is, why, God? Why did you put me through this? But we repeat those same issues because we don't learn from that situation. Then we put it right back on God. But sometimes you have to step out of yourself and look back at yourself and dissect it and move on in a different direction or path. Another common mistake people make is they see success and they decide that's what they want to do. Or they see fame, they see finance. 9 times out of 10, you won't get to those places if your intentions aren't pure, if you're not doing it for the love. Growing up here, I love to draw, I love to be creative, and it fed me. It fed me spiritually, financially. When I was growing up, to this day, my cousin will tell you, I took my craft, I painted on jeans when it was popular. I charged my classmates for that. Everybody was rocking friendship bracelets. I learned how to make those and sell those. I cut my brother's hair. I started charging my neighborhood friends for haircuts. One colleague, Michael Burton, who's doing this thing from Jackson, APAC, is a saxophonist for everybody. On the road right now with Usher, Patti LaBelle. I feel like we like yin and yang. We knew what we wanted to do. We had the foundation of APAC and Jackson, and we went after our goals. Most of the people you see on TV, Oprah Winfrey, Julia Roberts, all these people are from small cities, but they have that drive and passion to do what they desire. That's one thing that would be extremely important for you to get to the next step in your career. I work with countless of celebrities, but it all started from just a passion. As mentioned, I went to APAC around the corner. I used to be so ecstatic. I went to North Jackson, stayed in Woodhaven, and we used to play baseball with our friends and stuff from Woodley competition. And my brothers went to Callaway, which was our rivalry. I went to Murrah, and I've always just known what I wanted to do. Another important thing that I feel like people don't realize or take advantage of is all aspects of learning. I always knew I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't always take my academics seriously. So one major defeat that made me realize honestly, I don't believe everything happens for a reason. every single thing. Every loss, everything happens for a reason. So I knew what I wanted to do, and I was ready to apply for art school. I looked at Savannah, didn't decide to go there because at the time they wasn't accredited. I looked at Chicago Institute College of Art. I had family in Chicago. I loved it. I went up and visited the school. That's the only other school I went to visit when it came to art school. So my mom was my biggest supporter, financially or whatever. And my dad enrolled me in oil painting classes. So I excelled, I got awards, scholarships from that. And I just didn't take academics seriously because I always knew what I wanted to do. I would never forget, I didn't perform well on my ACTs. So Chicago accepted me, but they were like, okay, we need you to come up here and take this test. My mom did what she could, probably couldn't afford it, worked several jobs, flew me up, and I took the test. And I failed the test, but I didn't know it. So I'm on my way back, and I remember my mom just trying to be calm, but she already knew I had failed. And I called on the phone, and she told me, and I looked at that, and it made me realize how important taking advantage of everything was. But the positive side of that, I ended up at the Maryland Institute College of Art, and I studied so hard, and I ended with magna cum laude, and you know, at that moment, I learned to take advantage of every situation. So I not only took painting classes, because I always knew I wanted to draw. I thought I would be, going back to high school, people would tell me all the time, Derek, you're gonna be famous. And I'm like, why would you say I'm gonna be famous? And I was like, from my studies, artists are famous when they die. So I just didn't get it. But I knew that didn't matter to me. I just love creating. So I went to the Maryland Institute College of Art, and I graduated, and I moved back. When I was in school, I learned everything from graphic design, took photography classes. All this was introduced to me when I was in Mississippi. This is before Macintosh and Photoshop and all that, but I took traditional photography, painting, drawing, graphic design, illustration. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I needed to make a living. So I made myself well-versed and well-rounded. So I graduated magna cum laude, and I moved to Atlanta 24 years ago. My brother went to school at University of Southern Mississippi, and we moved in together. My oldest brother was in Tampa, and they both were computer science, and I was the artist. So Eric and I moved in together, and I found a job, a graphic design job, creating lottery tickets at Scientific Games in Alpharetta. And my skill set took me from doing graphic design to being licensed property games and doing illustrations. I worked there, and the company started taking advantage of my talents without compensation. So basically, I got a promotion with little to no money. So I left there, and I became an art director at this small town called Cedartown, Georgia. We did T-shirt embroidery and all of that. So the whole point of me telling you this is, at the same time I'm doing that, I'm doing the illustrations for children's book. Published my first children's book, Up the Learning Tree, and I'm working photography part-time, doing portraits. And I'm driving an hour away to a small town called Cedartown, Georgia, which is basically like this hick, redneck small town. So me being a black man, I'm commuting an hour every day, and it was a lot. It was an hour every day. I would come back, do paintings, photography, and then get up at 5, 6 o'clock, drive an hour every day with no traffic and do the same thing, working and doing what I have. A lot of times that's part of the process too. Once you guys graduate, you may think it's time to start working, it's time to start making money, but it's a process. That money may not come until several years later, but you have to be consistent. You will have loans that you have to do, Sally Mae, and all that, and you will get through that. So stay focused as far as that goes. But I continued to go to Cedartown, Georgia, and by the grace of God, one day I was driving, I never forget it, I had my photography equipment in the back of my car, and I got into the city limits, and I got pulled over. And the cop asked me to, he was like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from Atlanta and I'm going to Cedartown." He was like, basically investigating me. So he asked me to pop my trunk. He looked in the back of my trunk and saw that I had photography equipment. He asked what I was doing there. I said, "I work in Cedartown." He calls up Cedartown, my boss, Jamie Moores, and he's like, "Do you know this guy?" So to go further, he asked me to get in the back of his car while he searched my car. So at that time, I had already realized and made up my mind that I wasn't looking back. So I called, I got the support of my wife, and I had decided that I was gonna do my own thing. I never forget, I called my boss. He was so upset that I had been racially profiled, and everything happened for a reason. At that point, I hadn't saved any money. We had just bought a new home, and I didn't know how I would get financially, how I would make it. But by the grace of God, I hadn't looked back that day. I haven't been able to, 20 years ago, I haven't had to go back to work, and I've been consistent. And I started off with, I remember I was so excited. My salary was probably like $40,000 to $45,000 a year. And I didn't know how I would do it. But I haven't had to work for anybody in that amount of years. And thank God. But it's just to show you guys that, it's just to show you to basically keep at it and just stay focused and driven and don't give up. Most people give up way too soon. So, I'm rambling, but I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna try to wrap it up soon. So anyway, from that, at the same time while all this is going on, one of my clients, Rachel Vassell, she came in for holiday portraits at the time. And I took her portraits, and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a book called Daughters of Men." And the book was for about successful African-American women and their dads. So I was like, great, sure, I do that. I would love to be a part of it. We did a couple of well-known and prominent Black women in Atlanta, and she calls me and she's like, "Guess what? They want to make this an international thing or international book, and they love their images, and I want you to be the photographer." So I found myself traveling from Atlanta to Los Angeles. This is the first time I've ever experienced this. And we were literally in Lisa Ray's house. And this is back in the 90s, so that's major. Lisa Ray, Melinda Williams, Tracy Edmonds, the list goes on. And I took what I learned and my resources, and we were shooting, and I was building my clientele at the same time. Fast forward, the publisher, she got a publishing deal. They was like, "We love this. The photos are beautiful. We're gonna make this color. We're gonna make this coffee table book. But it's one thing. We're gonna take your name off of the cover as the coffee table book, and we're gonna put this guy because he's popular and he forwarded the book." So they took my information off, and it motivated me to be like, I'm gonna do my own book. So I reached out to the resources, Lisa Ray, Eva Pickford, and I had been watching Top Model. I was like, I'm gonna do this alter ego that I saw on Top Model, but I was like, there's one thing missing. It's the interaction between the subject. I'm gonna make this and mix my illustration with it. So I reached out to these people and shot out. That's how my alter ego project began. So the 90s, blogs were popular. The celebrities started using it for publicity. The YBF, Media Takeout, Sandra Rose, they started using all this stuff for publicity. So I saw and I thought about it. I was like, okay, this is great traction. What do I need to do? I had just shot Nene Leakes. And I did this before that I did an alter ego show and all these celebrities came out. And that's why I realized I really had something special with the project. But I decided to take it to another level by displaying it on national TV. So I positioned Nene and I was like, okay, can I do my alter ego shoot on the Housewives? She was like, sure, as long as I can direct it. And I was like, I don't have a problem with that because I looked past the smaller picture and thought about the exposure that it would lead me to. So at the same time, I'm working part-time. After I lost, this is before I quit my job. I'm trying to figure out, no, this is afterwards. But I'm trying to figure out how financially I can travel and make these connections that I had before and sustain. So I shot it on the Housewives of Atlanta, and I was so concerned because I didn't have a dime and I was traveling. Everybody that was a part of the project was a part of it. Makeup artists, all this, we would fly, stay in different hotels together and capture this, shooting celebrities for free and working towards a bigger goal. So I remember, I'll never forget this. After I shot The Housewives, we decided to have an art show. And at the art show, we had to find a house to shoot it with. So we went there, we got to the house, the water and the lights aren't on at the house to exhibit the art show. Not to mention I spent $5,000 on prints and framing that I had no idea how I would get back. So we get there and we can't get the pictures for the exhibit hung because there's no water or no lights. So we resolved that, we got it taken care of. We called the realtor who lent us the space. And my truck got stuck on the hill in mud with all the pictures in it. So it was one thing after the next. So we had this big art exhibit and all of Atlanta came out for it because it was televised on the Housewives. And I knew something was up at that point, but I really didn't know until it aired. And I was thinking, the investments that we put in, we have to invest in ourselves to get a return. So as soon as it aired, my phone would ring at the studio, 50 voice messages every single time that it aired. I gained Essence magazine, Ebony magazine. All these things came from that. And I'm still known from the Housewives today. So at that moment, I didn't realize or think how I would be able to actually make it financially or even do that, but God made a way and I was consistent and I had the support of my family, which is very important. But that's another moment too, as far as you have to have the support of loved ones, but you also just have to stay focused and driven to this day. My accolades have just continued from there, and I'm always trying to push myself as a businessman, as a Black businessman, and think ahead of the curve. So when the pandemic hit, I used my background, made alter ego mask, just to express it. Didn't really make much money off of that, but it was an avenue for me to be creative and express. After that, social media hit, became up with content, and it's taken me to another level. I just had my first major national commercial with Jeep, which was probably the first time an African-American man has been on a national Jeep campaign commercial. Not only did I star in it, but I directed it, produced it, and it all came from my avenue of being creative. The most important thing to me are not really my accolades. It's about creating, giving back to the community, and spreading wealth and growth. I look in the audience now, Tracy Reed, 20 years ago was an intern with me. But the proud thing about it is I go to Atlanta before celebrity photographer existed. I was the only black celebrity photographer. And now the ones in Atlanta are my colleagues that were interns with me when I first started. But that makes me proud. There's really no competition as far as them being with me. It's all enough money to make for everybody. So when I see them excel, I see a reflection of me. And it's important. My long-term goal was to always be, as a photographer, to be a household name like Gordon Parks. And I feel like I've accomplished that. And I'm grateful for my parents, my family, the support. And I'm just here to say, if you have a dream, stay focused. Mine is not over. I've mentioned this, but I'm really gonna take it seriously as far as directing my first motion picture. And I don't wanna ever stop. I don't plan on retirement because I love what I do. And I don't work a day in my life because I love what I do. So I'm here to tell you guys to stay focused, stay driven, and anything is possible with God. All right. And I'm very private person. I'm introverted, extroverted. So what you see on social media is not really me. But in saying that, it's hard for me to get up here and talk to you guys, especially with the personal daily life lessons and trials that I've been experiencing. But it's easy at the same time when you speaking from the heart and you're doing what you love. And I can't stress it enough to just keep going, and I thank you.
Keep it going for Jackson, Mississippi's own Derek Blanks. Amazing. So many gems dropped, Derek. Thank you. Thank you so much for opening up and getting outside your comfort zone. You said you don't like to talk, but that sounded like a sermon to me that you just gave. You closed about 3 or 4 times. You said, I'm getting ready to close now. Now, back during the pandemic, I said, he ain't finna close. He got more to say. That's what I'm talking about. The doors of the church are open. Thank you. Thank you, Derek. I think what I got from that is I always say that God does not work in mysterious ways. He works in intentional ways. And everything that you said, it seemed like God was in the details. And, you know, that's just a reminder for us, if you believe in God, to trust in God, because there are our plans and then there are the plans that he has for us. And they are often much bigger than what we can fathom. So thank you so much for opening up to us, Derek, and congratulations on everything. So I took some notes. Spreading the wealth, you say. How do you plan on? Because I got a little debt, so I'm just wondering what I got to do. I'll hold the camera or something if you want to help me pay off this American Express card. I love a man who cries, too. I love that. Yeah, I love a sensitive man. He'll help you pay the bills if you If you cry a little bit, oh, my Jackson water bill is $1,500 this month, Derek. Can you help a sister out? Yes, yes. So you were designing lottery tickets, you said? And at no point did you think to just rig the ticket? See, God know who to give assignments to, because I would have won the lottery every week. You hear me? You mean to tell me you putting the numbers on the ticket and you didn't win the lottery? You are an honest man. That's why God is blessing you right now. That's why God is blessing you. Yes. And I would like to point out that Derek's suit is also made by a very famous Mississippian. His name is Dedrick Thomas, and his brand is Hideaki, and that is the suit. That's one of the suits. So yeah, a lot of wealth and royalty comes from Mississippi, and you look good in that suit, brother. You look good in that suit. All right. What else did you say? They took your name off the book. That pissed me off when you said that. Cause that Mississippi would have came out of me. You ain't taking my name off the book. Ain't gonna be no book if my name ain't on the book. But again, God knows who to give his assignments to. Cause I would've, yeah, okay. How does one book a photo shoot with you?
You can go to dblanks.com.
dblanks.com, okay. Okay, excellent. I would like to do one with you. But I'm just wondering if you can like give me a butt. That's what I'm saying. Like, can you Photoshop that in? Is that possible? Okay, excellent. I just wanted to make sure. You can't have me out here looking. Cause they gonna zoom in and be like, oh, she ain't. Okay.